Otherwise, it's worth, if it's affordable, then, booking a ticket coming out here for a week or so, not staying in a hotel, but staying in an Airbnb in a neighborhood somewhere, just kind of getting an understanding of the environment.
All right, welcome everybody to the Online Podcast. Today we have a special guest, John, aka Virtualjay, from the Virtualjay YouTube channel. John, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time and doing this.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here and talking to you.
Sure, thank you, man. First of all, my first question is, I know that you lived in California and you worked in Silicon Valley for 10 years. How was the transition for you from moving from the United States to the UAE?
So it was an interesting time when I came here. So I arrived in March 2020. So as you know, that's when the pandemic started to kick off. So with that aspect, it was a bit of a challenge. I've been here for work and also for vacation in the past. So I I knew a little bit of what to expect, but more so from like a tourist perspective.
Right.
And then along the way, just dealing and socializing with people, and then finding my own path. Um, I started to pick up how things work and get a feel of the environment, the culture, and how things move and shake, more or less.
Right, right. And what are the things that you are accustomed to or used to in the US that when you spend some time in Dubai, you were like, I wish I could see those things here in Dubai?
To be honest, I mean, I've traveled a lot, and this place has a really big American influence. So, in terms of like, let's say I go out to a restaurant, I need to go to the store to go buy something, go to one of the malls, go to the hotels. It's actually a really like American or European influence. So that aspect, you don't, I didn't really feel any kind of disconnect, or I missed this or that. I would say one thing that I'm not used to is the level of service. In the U.S., like we don't have the level of service that you do here. So I'm used to doing things on my own. Like in some of the buildings I lived in, walking in and someone saying, "Here, sir, I'll carry your bags." And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I carry my own bags." I'm
Yeah,
just used to doing things for myself. Um, and to be honest, I try not to engage in that too much, because I also enjoy being capable and carrying my own bags, and keeping my own place tidy, and if I could, I'd hop out my car, pump my own gas, and so on. But each how do I say it? Each to his own, each unto his own.
right, right. It's true. Me too. I was surprised the first time I got to Dubai. It was I had a job offer to do customer service, and I had a hotel accommodation. There's people that were picking up my stuff. I'm like, I'm just here to do customer service. Like, I'm not like a politician or nothing, I can take care of myself. But that's a good point. Another question is, for people who are going to Dubai for the first time, they don't know nothing. They just saw the Instagram pictures or whatever, and they got a job offer and they're moving, let's say from the West, from the USA or Europe. What are the things that they should keep in mind before landing in Dubai?
So I would say, this place is not for everyone. And if you have an offer from a company, it's always worthwhile, to ask if they'd be willing to, depending on where you're coming from, if they'd be willing to fly you out, and so you can get, a feel of the environment and see if this is really for you. I guess that'd be more for, people who companies are going to make a serious investment in. Otherwise, it's worth, if it's affordable, then, booking a ticket coming out here for a week or so, not staying in a hotel, but staying in an Airbnb in a neighborhood somewhere, just kind of getting an understanding of the environment, and getting up early in the morning, walking the streets and doing things that you would do that that are like part of your normal routine on a weekday, not as if you are on vacation, to see if, the way the city flows, the way that people are, can I thrive in this environment? Because sometimes I think people, they see the Instagram pictures and or they've heard stories, and then they say, okay, well, I want to go there. I want to live there. I have to absolutely be there. But when you come here and you're working, you're grinding, that experience becomes completely different. Like for me personally, I don't do all the tourist stuff. So sometimes, it just feels like another city to me. And then once in a while on the weekends, I'll go explore something. I'm like, wow, I kind of feel like I'm on vacation. So again, it's really important to actually be in the city and get a feel of what your actual life would be like, because your life on vacation is completely different than what it's going to be like where you're here working, grinding.
Definitely, definitely. That's a good point. Um, Another thing I want to say for people who are moving just for the first time and they don't know much, they still didn't find a place to stay or anything. There's a metro line, and it's just one line on the Sheikh Zayed Road. So the ideal thing is to live close to that metro line, because it just makes sense if you want to move and everything, because when you just arrive, you don't want to be taking taxis and all that, because you can save a lot if you are closer to the metro line. It might be a little bit expensive, but it just makes sense to be there, unless you have a car. Obviously later on, if you decide to get a car or something, then that's a whole story. You can live wherever you want. um uh, I have a question that's not related to Dubai or anything, but it's about we saw that the Staples Center, the home of the Lakers, and the Clippers are changing the name from Staples Center to Crypto.com Arena, and Nike is doing something with, I guess, a Nike Land or something like this. And there's so many things happening right now at once with Facebook, Meta, Web 3.0. I know that you're a very tech savvy guy. So can you give us your take on this? How do you see things moving for the next, let's say, 5 years?
Man, so like, one thing I like to say is like, it's hard to speculate, and no one really knows anything. Like, for example, with what happened with the pandemic and how it crashed the markets. I think that if people knew, if machine intelligence was able to anticipate these events, we would have never had a market crash. Yeah, the market did hit all-time highs, but it's hard to anticipate how people are going to react, what they're going to do in terms of like these big arenas renaming themselves. And that's, I guess, a usual part of business. Sometimes like these stadiums, to get funding for their projects, they sell the naming rights, and these can be a lease for 5, 6, 10 years, or however long they sign an agreement for. And I'm not sure of like how the pandemic impacted Staples, and maybe they can't afford to have their name on the Staples Center anymore. And clearly crypto has been booming. I mean, you've seen some of these coins, they have had 5,000% increases. And these businesses, these I guess like these investment firms that have capitalized on that, they probably have depending on if they took profit, they probably sitting on a good amount of money, and they can put their name on these centers. And depending on how long this crypto phase lasts, I think that's something that's, anytime something new comes along, people ask how long is it going to last. So it may be here to stay. They may be called the crypto.com arena for however many years to come. But I think it is good to pay attention and not write it off. When I was a kid, I went door to door selling newspapers, and I remember, this is 1995, 96. And this is when the internet was becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And people were starting to get their news across the internet. And some people would be like, I don't want to buy a newspaper. I get my news from the internet. And I'll go back and tell my managers, like, hey, these people, they don't want to buy the paper because they're getting the news from the internet. My managers would be like, oh, that's not going to last. People are going to go back to regular,
Right.
newspapers. But I think that crypto, it's clearly has some use, although right now there's a lot of speculation. But I think that people are going to find real everyday uses, and it'll stabilize more. Then it's definitely something that's here to stay.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not very into this. I just started, and I heard somebody said something very important. He was like, it's like the dot-com boom. Um, During the boom, any company that put .com next to their name, the stock goes up. Like, people think that they're gonna do big things, but it's not always the case. And for the crypto and everything that's going on with Ethereum and Bitcoin and the NFTs, I think that's just the beginning for something big. Maybe now people are trying like to figure something out, trying to make NFTs and stuff like that. But this is just like step one in something huge that's coming in the future. I do believe that. So this is it, John. Thank you so much. I know you have a busy schedule. Thank you for squeezing this time in, and good luck with everything. Please check John's YouTube channel. It's Virtualjay. Very good information about Dubai, and he does some vlogs and some travel vlogs. It's very interesting. Thank you for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much. And so to people out there, I hope that you got some value from of this. As Hatem stated, I have the YouTube channel. I'm pretty responsive, so if you ever have any questions, need help with anything, I try and respond to everyone as soon as possible. There's no barrier between me and anything else. So, if you have any questions about Dubai or, just traveling, then yeah, I'm open.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.